in the spotlight, hit that light. No cap, no filter, we take flight. Saints on the rise, got that energy. Tune in to my podcast, feel that synergy. New Orleans pride, we never fall. Subscribe to the vibes, we gon' ball. Subscribe, hit that bell, join the hype train. No cap, no filter, we breaking every chain. In the heart of the city, Saints reign supreme. Live a dream, we living it clean. Yo, Bean Camara run that play. Crystal Love flying, making waves every day. Take some hills, switch it up, always on the go. Cam joining the fans, putting on a show. Lil Mario with time, bringing that heat. Shaheen's got the speed, can't accept defeat. Subscribe, hit that bell, join the hype train. No cap, no filter, we breaking every chain. In the heart of the city, Saints reign supreme. Live the dream, we living it clean. So stay tuned. Don't miss this ride with the Saints by side, we take pride.
All right, what up, Who Dat Nation? This is No Cap, No Filter. I'm your host, Marty G. Got my guests on here. My guys, Brian, and my guy, Marlon, man. It's from Saints Twitter, man. If y'all don't know him, go ahead on and go follow him. Speaking of Saints Twitter, it's been a lot going on in Saints Twitter. It's been so many different type of uproars going on right now. A lot of the stuff really shaking up right now. And when it comes to this Saints brass having their head coach search, a lot of people are wondering, are the Saints being patient or are they being unwanted? You know, it's kind of like when you just have a date and you feel like you're getting stood up. You know, one side could tell you on your conscience, just be more patient. They'll call you back. And the other side could be saying, man, you're probably not wanted right now. And you're probably elsewhere with somebody else doing God knows what. But, you know, I'm going to go ahead on and get into the first thing that I want to talk about. One of the biggest things that's talked about on Saints Twitter that's, you know, caused a whole lot of ruckus and emotions and uproar, whatever the case may be. TJ Jones had reported, sent out a tweet, and he said the New Orleans Saints had a strong chance of hiring Aaron Glenn as their head coach. However, Glenn requested that the team consider moving on from Mickey Loomis as the general manager and allow him to be involved in the hiring of the new GM. The Saints were not willing to make the change, according to sources. That right there has sparked a whole lot of discussions. It got a lot of shares, a lot of views, a lot of impressions. If you're a fan of the State of the Saints podcast from TJ Jones, you backing him up. And, you know, if you're not too much of a fan, you kind of criticizing him. What did y'all make of the whole report? You could go ahead on and start, Marlon.
I mean, I thought that the report, like, you know, if he have a source, he have a source. So I don't know. I don't really listen to his pod like that. I've seen him on the TL before, but like if he have a source, that's his source. Hopefully the source wasn't like lying to him. I thought he could have kind of worded it maybe a little better, but like just me looking at it from afar, like I was saying, if I was Aaron Glenn, I had like tweets a couple of months ago like after Dennis Allen got fired, and you can tell they obviously wanted Aaron Glenn because you knew he was going to be a head coach. I would say if I was him, I would try to I would be seeking out that Detroit model. And I'm not necessarily saying go to Gail Benson and say, look, fire him because we know how the Saints build. We know they're not going to fire Mickey Loomis. But I will be seeking out a situation similar to Detroit, how like when Dan Campbell came in, then Brad Holmes came in. So like the GM and the head coach can be on one timeline. That's how I viewed it. So I guess I don't think his report was necessarily wrong. I just thought it could have been worded better. Like he was seeking that out rather than he was trying to say fire Mickey Loomis or I ain't taking the job. That's how I view it.
Okay. What about you, Brian?
I mean, look, you know, I've been on your platform before and said TJ wasn't one of my favorite people as far as, you know, the way he covers the Saints. But in this situation, let me not say that he's 100% accurate. But I'll definitely say that there's a lot of validity to what he said. And if he wants to take his victory lap, I ain't here to stop him. I got the water on the sideline if he need it. Because a lot of what he said, again, there's accuracy to it. Now, do I think Aaron Glenn directly told the New Orleans Saints organization, hey, look, it's me or Mickey? No, I don't think that was the way it was. But I do know there's validity to the idea of Aaron Glenn wanted his own GM. Now, again, I'm not going to say he told them Mickey got to go or be reassigned or whatever, however TJ worded it. And I'm also not here to say TJ lying. That's what I won't say. But I do know there's validity to that, in that, yes, that Aaron Glenn wanted his own GM. Yes, the Saints had a 50-50 chance of getting him. And the deal really came down to this. The Jets were able to do something for Aaron Glenn that the Saints couldn't do, because other than that, all things are equal. They both were going to pay him well. They both were going to let him, build his team in a way that he wanted to build his team. So what was the difference in it? Well, it looks to be that the Jets hired, a GM that Aaron Glenn wanted and preferred to work with, and the Saints kept Mickey Loomis, and Aaron Glenn took a different route. So to me, I'm not saying TJ is correct. I'm saying he damn sure looked right to me.
And then, you look over in the same division, you got Liam Cohen. He was about to sign the biggest deal for offensive coordinator in the NFL, I believe. He was getting ready to, but they fired their GM and he doubled back, and I think he went met up with the team again out there in Jacksonville. So it's seeming like, both of those situations are kind of similar, if that report is true. Like, this is a real thing that probably happens with coaches.
I definitely think in the case of, what we're seeing right now, it only backs up TJ's story that, yes, Mickey Loomis could have possibly been the reason. And if we're paying attention to it, like, sometimes you can, you don't have to, you don't have to go a whole day to recognize sunshine. So let's call it what it is. The Saints are struggling to find a head coach. Ben Johnson told them, don't even call me. Aaron Glenn, who works for them already, told them directly, nah, I'm good. The rest of the coaching candidates didn't even consider them. So there's got to be a common denominator here. And when you look at what's going on with Liam Cohen, it only strengthens CJ's point, because Trent Baalke was firmly in place until they had a conversation with Liam Cohen, who basically told them, I'm not coming here as long as he's here. The very next day, Trent Baalke was out, and Liam Cohen was ducking and dodging Tampa Bay phone calls. So for me, that's kind of what TJ said. The same thing happened with the Saints. But there were people telling TJ it's impossible. That would never happen. It looks it looks very possible now, doesn't it? So again, and Mar, man, I've said directly, I don't care for TJ. I don't like the way he presents his information. I don't be but I DM TJ myself and say, bro, go ahead, take your victory lap. Whatever, whoever you talk to on this one, celebrate it to the fullest. Because this one is damn near accurate.
When it comes to TJ and when it comes to other Saints podcasts out there who are not, quote unquote Saints media, a lot of people, like, when they do a report and they tweet it out and they have their per sources, a lot of people be in the comments and they kind of criticize the report, basically saying, if it ain't come from Nick Underhill, or if it ain't come from guys within a building, don't even bother paying attention to it. Do you feel like that's fair to these other guys who kind of like got some skin in the game right now, after being, having a podcast for a few years, and some reports actually became true? Like, do you think it's unfair to those guys when people be in the comments, discrediting them?
For me, I don't know about, Rainy, man, but for me, bro, I feel like life ain't fair. So I get it. And I've been the subject of conversation many a time. I've always owned the ones that, I've been out there, and I if I ever gave a wrong report, it was never purposefully done. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you get bad info. And, because, you got to think, sometimes these teams are directly looking for, where's the leak? Who the hell is leaking this info? So sometimes you'll get a little bit because they want to get, they want to catch who's doing what. And then there's other times when you realize, man, that they got people that really sit down and they make up shit and they put it out there because they want to get the attention from it. Like, we seen a guy that just recently came out, and I try not to bring politics into it, but it's relevant in this situation. The guy came out and said, basically, I sat down, I thought of a whole thing about a child support law that Donald Trump's supposed to be enacted because I wanted to see how many people would run with it. Yes, there are people that do that in Saints media and stuff like that too. I've never been one of those. That's why I'm the first one to get on front of a camera or interview and say, man, look, I got it wrong. My fault. Got some bad info. That being said, Nick ain't the only one with sources.
Yeah.
And here's something I want people to consider. What if, by any stretch of the imagination, because this is something nobody ever thinks about, and you know what, Maul, I'm gonna ask you for this, bro. I'd appreciate if you clip this and put this out here when I say it. What if Nick, Mike, uh, uh, Jeff Duncan, some Matthew Parrish, who's now a part of the team, Catherine Terrell, Rod Walker, God, what's Will's last name at this point, man? Guillory, Will Guillory. What if, what if one of these dudes feel like, you know what? There's some info I want to put out there, but I don't really want it attached to my name. What if Nick, Mike, Rod, Will, what if they the ones who passing the info on to somebody because they feel like if I put it out there, my source might get burned. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass it over to somebody else that I trust, and they're gonna put it out there for me. But that never ever comes into the equation. Everybody always think, well, if it don't come from Nick, then it must be wrong. And look, Nick has built that reputation. It's well deserved. But what if Nick or Mike or Rod or anybody else is being like, look, man, I heard this. I can't say nothing, but here, I'll give it to you. What if that's the situation? But nobody considers that. So stop being so damn skeptical of everything. I understand that when it comes to Saints news, everybody want to be on because it's cool to argue and it's cool to do this and want to be a Saints insider. Yeah, they got a bunch of people like that, but don't discredit everybody because you feel skeptical. That's all I'm asking.
And I'll be wondering, what do people get off? Well, demanding somebody to give up their sources.
Yeah,
that's what really baffles me.
Because everybody's entitled now to feel like they want to be included in it. Well, I don't believe you unless you tell me this, and then I'll never be able to say anything again.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the whole point of it. If again, and we see this with national reporters. If a national reporter wants something out, you think do Ian Rappaport or Josina Anderson come out and be like, yeah, I talked to Trent Baalke and he told me that Shad Khan really doesn't know what the hell he's doing in the Jacksonville Jaguars thing. That's why he had to make so many bad moves. Because Shad Khan would overrule him. If that happens, Trent Baalke never tells her anything, and the other people she gets her information from, they don't do it either. What if it's somebody like that? Like, what if Josina Anderson sat down and told me or leaked it? What if it's Eric? Now, everybody knows I got a cousin that worked in the NFL at one time. What if he told it to me? What if he told me, man, when I went to go interview with the Saints, they had me there the whole entire time. And then at the very last minute of interviewing me for a head coaching opportunity, asked me, so what are your thoughts on the offensive coordinator position? Because that's what we really consider you as. What if that's where I got it from? But you sitting there telling me, well, what's your source? Well, it didn't come from Nick. Who the hell would know better than me if Eric put out if it's something concerning Eric? So it's like it's just wild, man, that they got so many people that are so quick to discredit. In fact, I got a dude right now that claim he won't fight me just because of that. Like, let me say this before I let Rainey take over. Don't let your love for the Saints get your ass whipped. My hands, and they work well, very well. Please don't do that. Like I'm really trying to be a peaceful brother. Please don't let your love of the Saints get your ass kicked out here.
All right. Speaking of what you were just alluding to, man, you got Nick Underhill. He made another tweet. He said, if the Cowboys are hiring, forgive me if I butchered his name, Schottenheimer. Okay, yeah, the Saints have no competition for any of their remaining candidates. So now all the competition is getting slim. I mean, the Saints, a lot of people are feeling like, oh, well, it's the same situation from last year with Clint Kubiak. A lot of people are, saying, oh, well, y'all got to just stop being outraged. It's the same thing that happened last year. The Saints are just being patient. But Jeff Nowak, he had quoted that same tweet and said it's going to be spun negatively by the Saints are actually taking their time and doing interviews. I view it this way. What you think about that, Rainey?
I think so. I mean, we know football, so we obviously know the Saints' job is not desirable. We know their number one candidate was Aaron Glenn. He didn't give them a second chance to get the second in-person interview. So we know, like, I think it's a bit of both. I think depending on what happens this weekend, if they're not rushing things with Mike McCarthy and they really want to wait for Kellen Moore and talk with Joe Brady in person again, then we'll see that like they are practicing patience. But I do think that like they did get they didn't even get to the altar with Aaron Glenn, and that's the guy that everybody knew who they wanted first. Everybody in the league knew. So I think it's a bit of both. I'm not gonna spin it. I don't think everything all negative, but I don't think everything is positive in a way of positive of trying to say what Jeff Novak was trying to say. If he's saying they're just being patient, like they didn't get to the dance with they didn't get a dance with they
Prom
first
date.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a bit of both.
Mm.
Jeff is a company man. He's supposed to say that. Let's just call it what it is. He's a company man. He's going to say, "Oh, the Saints are just doing their due diligence." No, not necessarily. And I understand Rainey's point that it could be a little bit of both. I just disagree with it. I think that this is not a bit of both. This is almost like people are looking at the Clint Kubiak thing and comparing it. But let's be clear. Clint wasn't their first choice. He was their last choice. If Clint was their first choice, they would have got him a long time ago. He would have been identified. And I hate the way the Saints always spin it like, ha, we got our man in the end, when everybody knows you're playing in their face when you say that, because if that was your man in the end, then there's no need for you to interview anybody else. Like, you know who you want. I ain't, and when I met my wife, I ain't had to worry about nothing else. I knew what it was. The Saints not gonna piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. You're not gonna try to spin this one and tell me that whoever you hire, Joe Brady, and don't get me wrong, I know Joe Brady high on their list. Mike McCarthy, Anthony Weaver. You're not gonna tell me you got your guy all along. No, the hell you didn't, because everybody in the NFL knows who you wanted. You wanted Aaron Glenn, so you can't spin it now and tell me you wanted him all along. So there's no such thing as being patient. Now you are forced to be patient. You forced to because you have no other opportunities. Pete Carroll wasn't gonna give you a sniff. Ben Johnson told you don't even call me. Aaron Glenn picked a whole nother team over you, and he worked for y'all before. This ain't no situation to where the Saints are being patient, doing their due diligence. This is a situation to where we now are in a position to where we don't know who the hell wants the job. So now we're gonna try to fall back on our plan B, because plan A was Aaron Glenn, and if plan A wasn't Aaron Glenn, plan A was Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson told you don't even think about it. I ain't
Mhm.
interested. So no, we're not gonna spin this and try to make it seem like the Saints are they're patiently waiting for their guy. No, the hell they not. And I ain't gonna let nobody sit there and lie to me and tell me that, because if you do, you playing with my intelligence, and I ain't gonna have that. There are very few things I can hold on to this world and say are mine. But the fact that I am intelligent is one of them. You ain't gonna do that to me. Nah, not happening. The Saints gonna end up getting a guy that they're gonna value, that they can say that they wanted, but it's not gonna be their first, second, or third choice. Nope, it's gonna be the choice that was left. It's almost like got all of the hot chicks and they got that one chick in the corner over there, and you like, you know what? Oh, hell with it. Come on.
Mhm.
That's where the Saints at.
The 3 o'clock in the morning chick.
The
But
one you call when you come, you didn't hit everybody else up, and they taking. So now you got to be like, look, I'm drunk, I'm on one. Let me call her, because I know this is a guarantee. Joe Brady is going to take the job.
mm,
Mike McCarthy, that's not even a guarantee, but he's more likely to take the job.
mm,
I just Anthony Weaver would definitely take the job, because he's not gonna get them kind of opportunities over and over. So nah, you're not gonna tell me that, man. Like Cliff Kingsbury can wait, Kellen Moore can wait. They're gonna get their opportunities. Joe Brady isn't even in a position to wait, but he wants it, and the reason why he wants it is the same reason why Mickey wants to give it to him. They both have a common enemy.
okay. Uh, so you mentioned that Clint Kubiak wasn't the first choice. Who was in fact the first choice? Because I think a lot of the fan base believed that was the first choice.
John Gruden was their first choice.
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Gruden, John Gruden was their first choice. They wanted John because they wanted to bring John back into football. They wanted an offensive mind. They wanted to give DA some help. And that's why they brought in John Gruden as a special consultant. To be honest with you, John Gruden could have got the job if John Gruden wouldn't have got into that stuff with the emails and all of that. Okay, first of all, he might not have been available. But had he been available, the Saints would have been one of those teams willing to pay him that kind of money if Sean walked away. Sean actually told Mickey Loomis the year of 2012 during the Bountygate year. He told him, call John. Call John and see if John will do it. See if John will come out of the booth and come coach the team. So there's a relationship there. The Saints brought him in the middle of him, going, he was the Saints are the first team to kind of bring him back to the forefront of the NFL. after the email scandal took place. So yeah, the John Gruden was their first choice. He was their first, second, and third. And when they couldn't get that, that's when they went to scrambling and they lied so much they wanted to, switch to a different system and all this other stuff, man. And it turns out, which is what I want to say about this whole thing about the last minute thing, to kind of tie it all in together. Last minute never really works out well because last year you got Clint Kubiak at the last minute, and you know what happened? It was a flop. To me, Clint Kubiak wasn't as good as advertised.
And
I ain't gonna lie,
speaking of,
I had kind of got told early by somebody that like they thought they was gonna get Clint Kubiak, but if it was John Gruden, it was John Gruden.
yeah, I heard that too. Uh, so speaking of Clint Kubiak, he actually having his second interview with Seattle. So it's looking like he's probably going to be out as the Saints offensive coordinator, even if the Saints were to hire Darren Rizzi, he might still go take the job in Seattle. I'm not sure, but the Houston Texans, they actually fired Bobby Slowick. He was one of the talk of the town last year in the offseason as the offensive coordinator, probably looking to get a head coaching job. By him being fired, does that mean he's just like off the market as far as a head coaching position this offseason? Or like, how does that look to y'all guys?
It got it got really bad in Houston. I watched a lot of them play. I thought he was a little overhyped last year, like in TJ's rookie year, but this year he was flat out bad. I know some of the stuff had to do with injuries, but like the game script, I'm like really skeptical of those guys that come from the Shanahan offense, like watching Clint Kubiak and watching what's his name? Slowick. But Slowick to me it was even worse because like CJ Stroud is a better player than Derek Carr. They got Nico Collins. I think Nico Collins is one of the best in the league. They got Larry Tunsil, who is one of the best in the league. Like I think he probably like one of those guys that he can go back to Frisco and be like a high level assistant, and then he'll have to like reprove himself again to be get back in that like that head coach range or potential future head coach range.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
with Randy on this one. I think his head coaching opportunity, he should have taken it while he had the chance. Last year, he had a chance to be a head coach. He should have taken it. He missed out on it. He decided he wanted to go back to Houston and stuff like that. And I think he missed out on it. He's kind of like Byron Leftwich at this point. When the iron is hot, sometimes you got to strike. And I think he missed his opportunity. Now it's going to be what Rainey said. He's going to have to go back, kind of prove himself. It would not shock me, depending on who's the hire here, if Bobby Slowick is the offensive coordinator moving forward. Now, if it's an offensive coach and that's the way it's leaning towards, I think if Joe Brady is the hire, for example, I think that there's no reason for you to bring in a Bobby Slowick. But if Joe Brady isn't the hire and it's Mike McCarthy, it wouldn't surprise me to see Bobby Slowick brought in. I can
Okay.
see that happening. Anthony Weaver, I can see Bobby Slowick being brought in. So if that's the situation, but if it's Cliff Kingsbury or Kellen Moore, Joe Brady, those are less likely to have a guy like that come in and kind of be a part of the organization. But I could definitely see that happening if they bring in a defensive guy like Anthony Weaver, and he's the
Yeah,
final hire.
yeah. Let me get
Okay.
one more point off. Let me get one more point off though. I think what happened to him this year is why potentially if the Saints where however you fall on Joe Brady or even a Kellen Moore, I think what happened to Slowick is a reason why one of those two guys, even though this ain't a good job, we can all admit that they probably wouldn't shy away from the job because it's never guaranteed the next year. Like everybody thought what Houston was going to be, and Houston still had a good team, but like we seen, like I watched enough football and I watched enough Texans football. That offense like severely regressed this year. So I think that could like a guy like Cliff Kingsbury, I don't even consider him a candidate. If they like people keep bringing him up, Cliff Kingsbury still getting paid money from Arizona. He can stay where he at and just wait out the next job next year. He already put enough on tape. He can get a job that he want next year if they just solid in Washington. But like I think for other guys like a Joe Brady or a Kellen Moore, if your name hot and you get a job offer, that might what happened to Slowick might help them potentially or might make them take this job, even though it ain't the greatest job ever.
Okay. If y'all like the content watching, go ahead on and hit the like button to help out the channel. Go ahead on and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you have a question for Brian or a question for Marlon, go ahead on and write it down in the comment section below, and we'll get to it as soon as possible. So yeah, go ahead on and like and subscribe. You mentioned Kellen Moore, you mentioned Cliff Kingsbury. You know, a lot of these names are the hot names. You know, Mike McCarthy. Everybody say, you know, he's not all that great of a candidate, but at the same time, he would for sure bring stability. You know, and the Saints could sure use direction and stability right now. You got Joe Brady, young, offensive, innovative coach. You know, these are all the big names, the splash names. But as a fan base, are we just glossing over Anthony Weaver? Are we just glossing over Mike Kafka? You could go first, Marlon.
I mean, I don't think we glossing over him, but like, I don't know, man. It's kind of tricky because that Rooney Rule is like bullshit, and I feel like those two guys, like me, when you find out Kafka, like Puerto Rican, so he counts the Rooney Rule. Like, I don't really. I think it's just. I think the NFL need to really get rid of the Rooney Rule because so far that's what I think that those two guys are here for, and I don't think it's right that they getting used like that, but I mean that's just the way the NFL set it up. So I really think they got to get rid of the Rooney Rule. I don't want to gloss over them, but like we got to be honest about it too.
Okay, what you think, Brian?
I mean, I think there's no chance for those guys right now, simply because of the other guys that are in place. Like if you had to make a list of 1 through 5 on who you would rank at, they would be like 4 and 5. And Anthony Weaver would probably be 5 in that situation, even though he's probably at right now he has higher potential to be a head coach than Mike Kafka, because Mike Kafka still has the stench of the Giants on him. Like you just mentioned Mike Kafka to Saints fans, and everybody kind of turns their nose up and looks at kind of looks at you from the side, because they're like, well, that dude was just with the Giants, wasn't it? And their offense looked horrible, even though people don't understand that Brian Daboll called the plays in New York. So and nobody gives him credit for the same reason why Joe Brady gets a lot of credit. Joe Brady gets a lot of credit for working with Josh Allen. Well, nobody gives Mike Kafka the credit for working with Pat Mahomes. So it's like, it's kind of wild that you see it that way. Nonetheless, that's the way it is. They're 4 and 5. Weaver would be 5. Kafka would be 4. And of course, you go from there with, you having Joe Brady being number 1 on the list, Mike McCarthy being 1A or 2, however you want to list it. And then you can fill in a blank for 3 because, most of the guys that they wanted are gone. I would say you can maybe have a toss-up between Kellen Moore and Cliff Kingsbury, but to me, again, it's kind of what Rainey said. I could see Kingsbury saying like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay here for another year, and then I'll have a better opportunity later on." So for me, same thing with Kellen Moore. I don't see that as really looking down on those guys. I think it's more along the lines of we just understand that they just aren't who the Saints want.
Yeah. Had somebody call in on the show the other day, and he was giving me a rundown of Kafka, and like you mentioned, he had his hands on Patrick Mahomes early on. He had his hands on a lot of these, offenses that was doing good in Kansas City. Now, of course, Patrick Mahomes is elite. Of course, Andy Reid is the head coach, but at the same time, he had something to do with that too as well. And what his name is, Anthony Weaver. The Miami Dolphins, they ain't been doing good on offense like they were projected to due to
defensive coach
and things that due to injuries and things. But on the defensive side of the ball, he had them dudes playing very well. I think Marlon even told me about how he used to watch the Dolphins defense do pretty well throughout the season, and he seems like a leader of men. He seemed like a very firm, stern, dominant alpha male type of guy that you want leading your locker room. So I don't know, man. We're gonna have to see where them guys land, but best of luck to them. If you like the show, go ahead on and put the like down. Go ahead on and subscribe. I'm gonna get to your questions as soon as possible. My last question right now before we get to the questions. If y'all got a question, go ahead and write it down below for Brian and Marlon. I'm gonna get to it as soon as possible. My last question, I'm about to get up out of here for myself, is Derek Carr. Derek Carr. He was in the news once again, sparked up a whole lot of commotion. It was a lot of people talking about a possible trade rumor to the New York Giants. A lot of people were making fun of it. A lot of people were laughing at it. I think that boy Wolf, he was being sarcastic with it, having a lot of fun with it. One tweet I seen. It was funny. But some people are like, man, maybe this could be true. You know, a lot of people feel like Derek Carr and the Saints are unhappy with each other right now. You know, some people feel like, you know, it's more than meets the eye between these two parties. I'm gonna let you go first, Marlon. What you think about the whole rumor with the Derek Carr to the Giants thing?
Yeah, I didn't read the article, but I know the guy who made the article. He like they like what Cat Terrell is, the ESPN reporter, NFL
Mm-hmm.
Nation reporter for them. That's the guy. Um, I mean, I would. He got a no trade clause, which is the issue, and a lot of this stuff. I don't understand why they gave him that, but I mean, I would hope that they would do that because like this is a rebuild, man. Like, and that's the thing. The timelines just don't mesh. Like the type of quarterback that Derek Carr is, this team, the type of quarterback that he is, and how he needs support. Like this team don't have that. Like it's just nothing fit at all. And like so, I mean, I would hope a potential trade could happen, but I don't know, man. I guess we just gotta wait to see with the head coach.
Okay, what about you, Brian?
I mean, Derek Carr has a no trade clause. So like some of the teams that are being suggested just don't make sense because if you're gonna leave New Orleans, which is a bad situation, and they already owe you money, which he's again unprovoked told you he's not taking a pay cut. If that's the situation, then if you're Derek Carr, like you're like, nah, you're not gonna trade me to New York because you want me to go to New York, especially for like a fifth round pick. Like if you're gonna trade me to San Francisco, trade me somewhere like maybe Indianapolis where they might want to sit Anthony Richardson for another year. Trade me somewhere that I can essentially kind of basically get my shine back because y'all got me looking like in Derek Carr's mind, y'all got me looking like I'm not a good quarterback. So no, I'm not going to no New York. I'm not going there for what? If he can't handle New Orleans media, you think he gonna be able to handle New York? Maybe. And not to mention that, but let's not forget, Derek had a chance to go to New York because the Jets wanted him also. At least that's what the word was. The Jets wanted him as well. So you've got the Jets, you got the Giants, you got the Colts, and you got potentially San Francisco. All of those are markets that if you're going to send me somewhere, I'm gonna pick the better markets.
Hmm.
And not New York is a good market for branding wise if you want to market yourself, but who the hell wants to buy, like, who wants to buy into Derek Carr after 12 years in the NFL? You're not buying into Derek Carr. Like, you can't sell him like you sold Aaron Rodgers, who's a former Super Bowl winner and multi-time MVP. You can't sell that. You can't sell Derek Carr like that. So if I'm Derek Carr, I'm like, nah, if call San Francisco, yeah, I'll waive my no trade clause for them, but I'm not waiving it for the Giants. And that's why I think a lot of this chatter is New York based. It's people sitting around looking at, what? Who could use a quarterback? The Giants and the Jets. Who's available? Potentially Derek Carr because of the $40 million cap, $40 million number. Okay, let's just say Derek Carr might be interested in the Giants. Boom, there it is. And that goes back to that thing you talked about earlier in the show, Maul, about how people make up things and why, sources aren't trusted all the time. This is why.
Okay. About to get to y'all questions now. If y'all have a question for Brian or Marlon, go ahead on and write it down in the chat. We're gonna get to it as soon as possible. We'll be about to start the questions off right now. So go ahead on and write y'all questions down. We got Jerry G has the first question. He said, I have a question for Brian and Marlon. Who do you want to be the Saints' next head coach? I guess y'all could give y'all answer and give why would y'all want him to be the head coach. We can start with you, Marlon.
Um, I guess if I had to choose between these candidates, I'll probably go with the young offensive guy in either Kellen Moore or Joe Brady. I guess I just want to go for the home run. I don't want to go for what Mike McCarthy is because, like, similar to Derek Carr, I'm not comparing them because Mike McCarthy, he obviously he has accomplishments in this league that Derek Carr doesn't have as a quarterback. Like he has a Super Bowl champion, or he's a Super Bowl champion head coach, multiple times to the playoffs, stuff like that. I guess I don't see where it fits at. Like if you told me if this was Mike McCarthy taking over for the team after Sean Payton left, you can sell me on that because I thought that that was a solid team. They still had solid players. They were getting older, but that was a solid team. They still had solid players. But in a rebuild, in a team that obviously needs to be in a rebuild, I don't want a 60-year-old quarterback and we going all out to get 9 wins in a bad division. And that's not even guaranteed that we get 9 wins because the team not good. So I would just rather chase the potential upside. If they fail, they fail. If they fail, it can be bad. But I would rather chase the potential upside. I'm chasing the ceiling, not a floor of Mike McCarthy. I want to chase the ceiling.
Hmm. That's a good
I'm
answer.
actually the complete opposite, man. I actually think Mike McCarthy is the perfect hire for the New Orleans Saints because they're in a rebuild and because he can identify talent, because he can be the adult in the room when Mickey Loomis wants to pick, a left guard from from Arkansas State, technical college in the first damn round. Mike McCarthy could be like, "Do you realize that T Mac is right there? Do you realize that Will Johnson is right there? That these are people who can help us immediately, and that we don't have to groom them. They can just kind of get out that day one and start and kind of take that lumps as it goes." That's what I want. I want Mike McCarthy to come in because he can identify talent. He's done it with Aaron Rodgers. He's done it with Aaron Brooks. He's done it with Dak Prescott. And what's the cat man that plays behind Dak Prescott? I'm forgetting the quarterback's name right now.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. That man
Mhm.
Brian.
Give me fam, my bad, bro. My phone rung. My apologies, bro.
Oh, all right, go
Y'all can
ahead.
hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, my fault, bro. My phone rung, man. People crazy, but yeah, bro. It's the idea, man, that you can, you can be in those situations or whatever like that with a Mike McCarthy and have him rebuild the team. I don't see Joe Brady. I think the job is too big for him to fix the New Orleans Saints. I think the job is too big for a Cliff Kingsbury and a Kellen Moore, Anthony Weaver, Kafka, all of these guys because they haven't been there before. This is a complete rebuild with a roster that lacks talent. I know one of those guys has won a Super Bowl and he's built a Super Bowl winning team. Give me that guy, and even if he's what I like to call a bridge coach, I don't think Mike McCarthy is going to be around for the next 10 years. No. But let me have him for at least another 3 years with a 4-year option. Let me get him for 3 years. Let him build up the talent. And if Mike McCarthy is only winning 7 games, 5 games, hell, you just got that with Dennis Allen. But if he's like that, but at least the team will be talented. And that way you get rid of him in year 3. You bring in a coach that you've all, a more innovative coach, and you have talent now for that innovative coach to be able to take. If Joe Brady would have took over this team when Sean Payton left, you're selling me on it. I still don't believe in Joe Brady, but now you can sell me on that idea because it's like, well, I'm giving the young head coach the keys to a Ferrari. All you got to do is drive the shit. But if you're gonna tell me you're gonna give me Joe Brady with this bunch of ragtag ass roster, nah, I can't believe. I don't believe Joe Brady can fix this. Not with Mickey Loomis is still there. Not with Gail Benson still falling asleep behind the wheel. Joe Brady ain't fixing that. Will he give you something to cheer for? Yeah, just like Spencer Rattler will. We all knew Spencer Rattler wasn't about to go out there and win 10, 11 games and put him in the playoffs. He gave us a hype. He gave us something to believe in for the future. That's what Joe Brady can do, but not with that roster. And we all know this ain't a 1-year rebuild. This is a 2, 3 year rebuild. By the time Joe Brady's in year 3, he might have something and he might get his ass fired. Give me Mike McCarthy, man. Only because I want to see him build the roster to where you can have somebody else take over and then take it to the next level. Kind of like Tony Dungy and John Gruden. Tony Dungy did everything he could in Tampa. Once he was out, man, John Gruden took that same damn roster. Touchdown Super Bowl. Here we go.
How do y'all feel about people comparing Joe Brady time with LSU and MVP Josh Allen compared to the Carolina time?
I think
I think
that
it's a mistake on anybody's
oh
part to prop up Joe Brady for what he's doing with Josh Allen and completely ignore what he was doing when he didn't have him. Like the story of Joe Brady is not like this boy wonder. The story of Joe Brady is I worked for a genius as Sean Payton, the offensive genius. I stole his playbook and I ran clean out of town with it and I ran to LSU where I did not call the plays. I used that to catapult me into the NFL. Once I got in the NFL, I was there for a half a damn cup of coffee, and it gave me the Carolina job. And when I got to Carolina, because I no longer had the protection of Sean Payton, the protection of Ensminger, the protection of the guys that I work for in the NFL, I was all on my own, all by myself. I flopped. Now, could he have learned something from that? I don't know what you can learn when your team was absolutely trash, kind of like the Saints are right now, and your owner got rid of you after a year. What did you learn? I don't know. Brian Daboll called the plays when he when at first, and Brian Daboll, that's how he got a head coaching job because Josh Allen looked so good under Brian Daboll. They was like, you know what, let's hire him. And now they're about to do the same thing with Joe Brady. How does Brian Daboll look right now? He don't have Josh Allen no more.
Mm.
That's my point when it comes to Joe Brady. Like you gotta see, somebody got to explain to me the love for Joe Brady outside of what he did with Josh Allen and what he did at LSU, and
I
nobody can ever
think.
do it.
Oh, I think it's like watching him in Buffalo, like watching how Buffalo played before with Ken Dorsey, and like they want to be this pass heavy team. Like it's a complete from when Joe Brady took. I think because I think he took over. They had a late bye last year, and he took over at the bye. They fired the current guy, but like they completely switched to like a heavy run team. Like, because they used to always talk about this, like, oh, Buffalo offensive line is leaky. The offensive line leaky. They can't run the ball other than the quarterback. I think that's what I'm looking
I don't
at.
hear Rainey,
That's
bro. Is he speaking?
Yeah, you can't hear him.
Nah, I don't know. Rainey went out on me.
Oh,
oh, you
My
can't hear me.
apologies,
You
bro. I
hear
didn't
me,
mean to cut
Ma?
your analogy for this.
yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, ask me if
You,
he can hear me now.
you can hear him now, B.
Nah, I can't hear Rainey.
You don't hear
Mm,
me?
Just let me know. I don't want to keep interrupting him, man. Just let me know when he done.
Oh,
shit.
I get it off.
Well,
I
just
guess I
just
was saying.
go out and come back, Rainy.
All right.
All right. He gonna just go out and come back. B.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically, uh, you know, commenting on what you had commented about Joe Brady, about what he was doing in Buffalo. Hopefully, you can hear him when he get back on. But
Yeah, because I would love for somebody to explain this to me, bro. Because I think a lot of us love Joe Brady because of his time at LSU. But I'm like, if Joe Brady would have walked in and he would have called the plays at LSU for that national championship team, maybe I'm a little bit more sold. But he wasn't the play caller.
mm,
Like I think people forget that it was Steve Ensminger. So I don't understand why like he gets the hype, other than the fact that he was at LSU and he stole Sean Payton's playbook.
all right. Say something,
Now I
Martin.
think he the hype.
Well, I'm here.
You can hear
You
him
hear
Nah,
now,
me?
B.
yeah, I can hear you now, fam. My apologies, bro. Go ahead,
Oh,
get your balls off.
you straight. You straight. I guess I'd look at it a little different. Like I look at like because I know when he took over kind of say 2/3 of the way through their season. I think they was like 5-5 or 6-5. They had just lost a game, and like Josh Allen was turning the ball over a lot. And he took over at the bye, and they went from a pass happy team to a heavy run team, and the offensive line went from like mediocre to like since then it's been one of the better lines like in the league. I'll say probably a top five line. Like I kind of look at what he's done since he took over. Now you do have to be you gotta like be reserved a bit because like some of those OCs that they have those alien QBs like a Josh Allen that can do. I know Josh Allen got his brain farts and all that, but like dudes that can do anything, any and everything on the field. mm, But dudes that can do any and everything on the field, like you do have to like be reserved. But I guess I can look at like the complete like scheme flip or whatever since he took over. Like this team is way better since like they've become a more power run team and they cut back on the passing. I guess, and also like they coached a lot of the like Josh Allen those mistakes. He still might have his moments, but he's not like you're not gonna see Josh Allen just being reckless with the ball. They coached a lot of the recklessness out of him in the past since Joe Brady been in.
Mm. Shit, we had B had went out again. Hopefully, he gonna come back. I'll send him a little text. Let me see. We're gonna get to your question soon, Mick Jagger. We're gonna get to it real soon. Yeah, if y'all like the content, go ahead on and hit the like button. If y'all not subscribed, go ahead on and subscribe. Write y'all questions down in the comment section below. We're gonna get to it right after the previous question has been answered. Next question we got is Mick Jagger coming up. We'll get to that right now. Let's go ahead on and get to it. Mick Jagger says, question, do y'all think Mike McCarthy get a bad rap? And would he be a better coach without an owner like Jerry Jones standing over his shoulder? Well, sure, he can be going he can be going into another situations with a quote unquote bad owner. So what you got to say about that, Marlon?
I mean, I think Mike McCarthy, he did what he had to do in Dallas. I thought he helped Dak a lot. I thought CD Lamb kind of like
Say
we
something,
seen
B.
him.
Hold on. Say something, B.
Yeah, I'm back, fam.
You can hear me and Rainy.
Yeah, loud and clear, bro.
All right. Sure,
I can change.
we had just went to Mick Jagger question. We're gonna get back to Joe Brady after he answered this question. You can answer this question too, B. Mick Jagger had asked question: do y'all think Mike McCarthy get a bad rep, and would he be a better coach without an owner like Jerry Jones standing over his shoulder?
I think he's proven that. I think, like Mike McCarthy has never been a bad coach. He was a good offensive coordinator. Anytime you can take Aaron Brooks and make him into something, that you get cool points for me for that. So he was never a bad coach. Then you get, Aaron Rodgers, and you got to deal with the headache that is Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that, man. And I think at this point we all see what type of dude Aaron Rodgers is. So to me, Mike McCarthy, yes, he gets a bad rap because you go from a malcontent in Aaron Rodgers to a meddling ass owner that thinks he knows more about football than anybody, and there's been nobody besides. And I think Jason Garrett tolerated Jerry, but to get along with Jerry, nobody's done that. But if you think about all the good coaches Jerry Jones has had, he's run them off. Jimmy Johnson ran him off. Bill Parcells ran him off. And now Mike McCarthy ran him off. His most successful coaches, he's gotten rid of. And that's just asinine to me. So, yes, I do think Mike McCarthy is getting a bad rap. Because if you look at his history, the dude damn near wins 11, 12 games every year. Every year. And when you compare his stats to Sean, now his temperament, very different than Sean. His results, very much, either Sean-like or better in certain situations.
What you got to say, Marlon?
I mean, I can agree with that. Like, he pretty much, I think Mike, he been coaching what, like 17 years. So I think he like 175 and whatever. So he basically like, he probably gonna be on average like 10 wins a year. So I mean, like I said, I don't think he a bad coach at all. I just don't like the fit with this version of the Saints team for my reasons. But B got his reasons why he do like it.
All right, we could get back to the Joe Brady debate. I'm not sure what you last heard from Marlon, but I guess Marlon could kind of pick
up down his, when he was at Buffalo, how he changed them from being, a pass happy team to a run happy team, improved the offensive line, and now they're one of the better teams in the NFL. Proof is in the pudding, no question. I'm with you on that.
You got anything you want to add to it, Marlon? Because
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess when you go back to you're gonna always have to. I feel like every OC gonna have to like at a certain point, if you're a candidate, you're gonna have to answer for a certain thing. Like he gonna have to answer for what happened in Carolina. Were you just not ready yet? Were you too young? You didn't know what to do? Was that just like a learning experience? Kind of. I'm not like comparing him to Sean Payton, but like Sean Payton, they went to the Super Bowl and when he was the OC in New York, and he got play calling duties removed from him. So like I just feel like he gonna have to answer for that in the interview process.
I think it's more of a matter of I don't think he was ready, and I don't think he's ready now. And not because I don't think he's not ready to be a head coach. If you were telling me Joe Brady was about to be the head coach in Carolina or Tampa or something like that, I might feel a little bit better about his ability to be successful. My problem is that I think the Saints job is too big for him. You don't have a quarterback, and I mean don't have a quarterback. Jake Hayner, trash. Spencer Rattler, unknown. And Derek Carr is a known commodity that has never done a damn thing in his career that makes you feel like in year 12, he's going to all of a sudden become an MVP caliber quarterback under any head coach, but much less Joe Brady when you still don't have talent around. It's an old roster. It's a depleted roster. It's a roster that can't stay healthy. And I'm like, I don't see anything. And I said this about Aaron Glenn too. So don't think I'm just trying to make it about Joe Brady. I said the same thing. I don't see him being successful here with this squad. Not now. I think somebody's going to have to come in and totally rebuild this from the ground up. And then you put a Joe Brady in place. And that's my biggest thing. And I'm like, if somebody can tell me that he's going to Sean Payton this thing. And again, not to compare him to Sean, but that's the task that he's in charge with. Sean Payton came off of a hurricane season and had to rebuild the roster from scratch. But when he did it, he had salary cap. He had draft picks. There was some talent left over on the roster, and the talent that he didn't like, he got rid of. The first day Sean Payton was in office, he got rid of Wayne Gandy's recliner, picked it up himself, threw the shit in the dumpster in the back, and he was like, why the hell do they have a recliner up in here and they can't win games? So that ain't Joe Brady. You are in a bad spot. You are in a team that has, again, depleted roster. The draft picks, Mickey Loomis going to wind up trading and moving up and doing something stupid because he always does. And you have no salary cap. Personally, my best thing they could do It's just punt on this next upcoming season. You ain't gonna win shit anyway. Punt on next season and focus on 2026. I know it ain't gonna happen, but that's I mean, it should.
I got one question for y'all though. You with the points you just said, B, do you think because I know what I believe. Do you think that this job, we know that was a hurricane, they was coming off a hurricane in 2006, but for football reasons, this job way worse than what it was in 2006, right?
I think so. Football wise, yes.
What about you, Ma?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Because at least with that 2006, at least we had that high draft pick,
Yeah. And then you had like we I know he
and
was coming off the injury, but
yeah, and we had Drew Brees.
I know he was coming off the injury and he wasn't the player that he ended up becoming, but like I had seen Drew Brees in '04 and '05. Like you can see him steadily climbing, like, oh, this dude getting better. Because shit, it was rough for him the first 2 years he started.
Yeah. Uh, we got another question from Mick Jagger. Says, if y'all got a question, go ahead and put y'all questions down in the comment section below. We ain't gonna be here too much longer. I'm gonna get these guys up out of here soon. So make sure y'all put y'all questions down in the comment section below. We'll get to it as soon as possible. We got Mick Jagger asks, shouldn't talent identifier be the number one asset we're looking for in a coach since we can't just sign anyone we want?
I think that goes to my point about why I think Mike McCarthy is the right guy. You don't have like, and that goes against to the other point that I made about the idea of the Saints have a bad roster that you're depleted. You can't even sign free agents. And the linchpin to all of this is Derek Carr. Because if they bring Derek Carr back, then you really can't sign free agents. So for me, it's too big of a job, and I think that's why Mike McCarthy deserves the nod here because he's the only guy that I trust that can be able to say, you know what, that seventh round draft pick, out of Little Sisters of the Poor, I can see a vision for him playing a certain role. I don't think Joe Brady has that yet. I don't think Kellen Moore or Cliff Kingsbury. I don't think they have that. I think only Mike McCarthy possesses the ability out of all the names that we're seeing here. And yes, I do think Anthony Weaver will be a good leader of men. But I think Mike McCarthy is the only one that I know can identify that guy in the seventh round that can come in and contribute, whether it be strictly from special team standpoint. Chris Banjo, what's the other cat, man? The other special teams ace we had here for a long time, the one that opened the juice bar, man.
Uh the nigga that owned the pizzas, they own like
Yeah,
the Papa John's. Justin Hardy.
Justin Hardy. Yeah, like I know Mike McCarthy can find those guys. I don't believe Joe Brady can do that yet. I don't believe Kellen Moore can do that yet. And this is Mickey Loomis's last hire. Let's get this straight. If Mickey don't get this one right, Mickey ass ain't gonna be on the unemployment line, but he damn sure ain't gonna be able to come out there and be like, you know what? I think you should let me hire the next head coach. That is gone for him now. He no longer has that. So yeah, for me, I'm like, no, I think that Mike McCarthy deserves the nod because of those things we're talking about now. So to the questions, to the person who posed the question's point, yeah, that's what makes me feel like Mike McCarthy is the best candidate for the position.
All right. Got Dan to say y'all preaching 100. We got 504 Co says great commentary. B. What you think about the question, Marlon?
I mean, I think a lot of that got to do, as far as the talent, the coach is, gonna be involved in that. But it's kind of hard when like the same front office is intact. So the same guys we've been complaining about, they still here. So like, is the formula gonna change on the type of players and the archetypes that they taking? Are y'all still looking for those power forwards at DN? Like, are y'all still looking at RAS scores for every position? And again, I think RAS scores in certain spots do matter. Like, I think if I'm drafting a corner and my number one corner, I do want my number one corner to have length, like far as like long arms, be able to play press coverage and be a certain size, but like, and I want them to run a certain thing, but like, it can't be the end all be all with players. And like, until since nothing changed, like in that like way of thinking, far as like we still got Jeff Island here. Like it's kind of hard to know what the talent, like what they want with the talent identifier. But I mean, I think Mike McCarthy, like I said, I think he's a good coach. I just I don't like the fit for my reasons here, but I can't knock nobody for liking Mike McCarthy. he do have success in this league.
And speaking of talent identifiers, man, that 2017 Saints staff was just crazy. All them guys had got head coaching opportunities or head coach right now. So it's just crazy how we had that staff and we still couldn't make nothing of it, all because of a no call. And on top of that, right now, defensive players of the year is in a running. Candidates is Zach Bond and Trey Henderson, I believe. So that's crazy, right? When it comes to talent identifying. Dana says McCarthy will automatically be the best head coach in the NFC South. Speaking of, these coaches, McCarthy, Kellen Moore, Joe Brady, we saying all this about these dudes. Meanwhile, right there on airline, you got Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan endorsing Darren Rizzi. What y'all think about Darren Rizzi, getting endorsed by Cam Jordan? Cam Jordan, he's probably going to have like one more season with us. We're going to see what's going to happen with that. Darren Rizzi, I think he's the guy who gave the C on Alvin Kamara's chest that was long overdue. What y'all think about those guys endorsing Darren Rizzi to come on and be the head coach?
I don't think they matter. I think both of the players are relevant at this point. Elvin about to be 30. He definitely on the team next year. I don't think he have a lot of guaranteed money in 2026, but like I don't really care. I mean, me personally, how B said the punt the season, I would punt the season with Rizzy. I would punt the season with him. I would give him a 1 year deal that he can't refuse. Like he can't refuse. Like I give him $12 million. Just be my placeholder. And because he gonna get a job. He gonna get a job he gonna be somebody's special teams coach in 2026. It's not like he'll be like David Culley where he's like completely out the league. So I would do that, but I didn't really pay no attention to what Elvin was saying or Cam because Cam not a guarantee to be on the team. I kind of hope he's not on the team, but I want them to get rid of Carr more so I can live with Cam another year.
All right, what you think about it, B?
I think Cam and Alvin both are the reason why fans have a legit argument that we know more than the players. I think that's pretty much the way it goes with that because both of them just sound absolutely insane saying they want Rizzy to come back, and all Rizzy brought back to the team was pure vibes. And once those vibes went away, so did the win. So for me, no, I don't see it that way, man. I think that both of those guys, I mean, it's good to endorse the guy that you want, but we can clearly see Rizzy isn't the guy. The job, again, too big for him. And I don't think he's not going to turn into John Harbaugh all of a sudden. It's not going to happen. Like Rizzy is who he is. He's not Dan Campbell, the second coming. That's not who he is. So I think the Saints will fool themselves. Now, I'll make this case for this. If you're going to keep Rizzy, don't put the head coach tag on him. Just keep him as an interim until you find a guy, which just goes back to the point that I made about punting on a season. If you want to keep Rizzy, punt on next season. Just keep Rizzy, tear it down to the studs. Let Rizzy be the fall guy or whatever like that. And it's, again, I've mentioned it before. It's what Houston did. It's what we just saw New England do. And it's the same model all the time. It's the idea of we're going to let this guy who we know we don't really want coaching the team, we're going to let him coach the team. And then after a year, we're going to fire him. We're going to move forward, and we're going to find a guy that we really want to coach the team in the first place. But we're just going to keep you for a placeholder for a year.
I know one quick thing though. There's nothing that you said or nothing that y'all said. One thing like listening to how this team covered, I hate to hear the word like the word vibe with this team. The guys in the locker room, they felt the vibe. The vibe should be about trying to be a winner. Like I think it's too many like some of these young players on the team, like all they know at this point is dysfunction and losing. And we got the old guys, and like all they care about is getting restructured because they're gonna get their money either way and getting a vibe. Like I think the organization at the top, they gotta be about becoming a real winner. That's like the real goal. As far as the team should be looking forward to. It's just like I went off on that is because like I hear that word vibe. Like sometimes you hear Mike Triplett talk and he'll be like, the guys, they won the game and the vibe in the locker room was a lot better. And I'm like,
yeah, you see it on
cool,
Twitter.
you
Like
went, you 4-9.
Tyrann Mathieu just here for vibes. Like you
Yeah.
just see all that on Twitter. So
Them
And that's
dudes here for
exactly the
retirements,
problem. Vibes
man.
has taken over that locker room, and they're no longer concerned about winning. Because if you're concerned about winning, you can't tell me Darren Rizzi is your choice. Like
Yeah,
you can't sell me on that and tell me you really believe you're gonna win with Darren Rizzi. Win what?
like,
Not even the NFC South. What you gonna get? What you gonna break? You'll win what? More than 5 games? Because Darren Rizzi wasn't gonna bring them to the playoffs either this year.
yeah. I listen to like the broadcast, and sometimes I listen to some stuff Nick say. I don't know, man. It feel like a lot of our vets. I don't know. I think a lot of them they just got comfortable in this because they just getting a check at this point. That's just how I feel, and I feel like you got some young players because I know I listened to the Nick had a live broadcast and he had Olave brother on, and the brother was like, he's like, yeah, man, because the brother was talking. He was like, they even kind of know that 2025 gonna be not gonna be good, but he was like, yeah, man, Chris never like really. He not really used to like this type of losing like this, and I feel like a lot of our vets kind of comfortable with this, and I don't like that for young players' sake because you're never supposed to be comfortable with losing. And I don't know, bro. I just think it got to change at the top, like the top, whatever they chasing, got to change. I think a lot of these guys they could take losing potentially in 2025. If you told them they had a real plan to become something, but it shouldn't just be, oh, we're gonna try to go for the NFC South and put all these band-aids everywhere. Like it don't work like that. Not no more, in my opinion.
I think the Saints should eat all of the cap that they can eat and go ahead on and tear it down. And I think that's why you got like first of all, again, I love AK. Put him in the Saints Ring of Honor if you want to do that. He should have never got that contract because AK is saying nonsense like this. Like for what? Cam, another dude, get back in Rizzy or whatever like that. Cam, I love you, bro. You belong in the Saints Hall of Fame. You belong in the NFL Hall of Fame, in my opinion. If JJ Watt can make it and you got good, just as good, if not better stats than JJ Watt, you belong there too. So for me, I think both of those guys, legends. They need to get the hell out of town. And that's just what it is. Like start with them. Start
Yeah.
if you from now on, if you have to look at it and say if you got a 3 next to your age, you probably need to be out of here. Bar, with very few exceptions. So I'm thinking Cam needs to go, Tyron needs to go, AK needs to go, Demario needs to go. Yes, I know Demario that he's been out. Yeah, I know. I don't care. All of them. If you got
Taysom,
a 3 next to
Derek,
your age, need to
everybody.
go. It's time. Put them out the pasture, send them to a winning organization, whatever you want to do. But at whatever point it is, let it be known that we appreciate what you did, but you can no longer do for us what we need. Cause you right here talking about bring Darren Rizzi back. Like, no, man, we can't like that. That signs the CTE to me. Like, I don't know what this is.
And then if you criticize them, they're gonna say we ain't never been
You a
an
fake
athlete.
fan.
We
What
ain't,
Yeah.
again? Because in order for you to understand how food tastes, you got to be a chef, right? Come on,
yeah.
man. Stop playing with me.
Yeah, it seemed like all the athletes saying, "Oh, y'all don't know ball. Y'all can't have an opinion on this." So it's almost like the shut up and dribble thing. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Before I let you go, I'm gonna let y'all say any last thoughts y'all have on the team, and then y'all could give the people y'all Twitter page where they can follow y'all at. You can go ahead on and go first, Marlon.
um, just gotta as a Saints fan, you gotta hope they get it right and they know what they're doing organizationally at the top. Um, I don't have a lot of optimism that they do because of they still kept the same people up at top, but just pray. And you guys can follow me on Twitter at it's rainy though, ITSRAINEYDOE, and just giving a lot of takes about sports, particularly the Saints and stuff like that. But that's it, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you for your time coming on the show, Rainey.
All right, man. I'll catch y'all. Y'all take care.
All
Salute,
right.
fam. And I'm gonna get out of here with this one, man. Like it seems to me like neither one of my pro sports franchises have the ability to lose properly. The Saints had a top 5 pick. They decided that they wanted to win games that they shouldn't because they was out there for the vibes and stuff like that. So they ruined themselves from getting the top 5 pick, which could have put them in a very good position. And they decided to win games they shouldn't have. And now the Pelicans are doing the exact same thing. You got a top pick locked up and y'all decide now y'all want to win games. Man, I can't deal with these people, bro.
Yeah, man. I was gonna get on the Pelicans, but I'm like, ain't that much to talk about. I'm gonna have to see if they're gonna really put together some wins and start shaking things up, or are they gonna just kind of stay afloat or whatever. So We'll definitely be talking more about the Pelicans soon to come. But right now everybody is just on a look, just looking out the window, basically looking like Doughboy when he threw up his hands when you put the tweet up earlier. We just
Yeah,
wait to see what's gonna happen.
we trying to see what's
Everybody
up,
wait.
man.
Yeah, but
That's what's up, brother.
thanks for coming on the show. B, go ahead on and tell people they can follow you on your Twitter before I let you go.
I'm on Twitter, man. Battle Rap Bets, all one word. Battle Rap Bets, all one word, man. Come holler at me.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show.
That's what's up, fam. Salute.
All right. Yeah, man, that was my boy Marlon and Rainey. I mean Marlon and B, man, coming on the show, man. Them guys always supporting, coming on the show even while they at work. So y'all give it up for them. If y'all had any questions that we didn't, well, I think I covered all the questions. So yeah, y'all have any questions next time, put them down below. If y'all like the show, go ahead on and like it. Yeah, help out the channel. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And just like you, man, we all waiting right now. We all waiting to see who's going to be that guy that's going to be the next head coach of the Saints. Whoever is going to be, just don't be having that much optimistic for this season. I'm going to say, just hope for the best, and that's all we could do. I mean, no matter who we're going to hire, it's going to be a lot of people that's going to be upset with whoever we get. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be kind of glad. But it's nobody that's going to be that home run hit that everybody just know, oh, we got the potential. It's nobody's first choice, basically. But I'm going to go ahead on and get up out of here. Y'all, thanks for y'all for watching the show. Definitely going to have a episode once we do hire that guy. Everybody and Saints Media and Saints Podcast, going to be scrambling to do an episode once that news finally break. But we're going to have to get to it when we get to it, man. Everybody just got to stay positive and just hope for the best. I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all like the show. Y'all subscribe, man. Who that?
Yo, we living in the spotlight, hit that light. No cap, no filter, we take flight. Saints on the rise, got that energy. Tune in to our podcast, feel that synergy. New Orleans pride, we never fall. Subscribe to the vibes, we bombard. Subscribe, hit that bell, join the hype train. No cap, no filter, we breaking every chain. In the heart of the city, Saints reign supreme. Live the dream, we living it clean. Yo, King Camilla run that play. Crystal lava flying, making waves every day. Take some heels, switch it up, always on the go. Cam joining the fans, putting on a show. Del Mario with time, bringing that heat. Shaheen's got that speed, can't accept defeat. Subscribe, hit that bell, join the hype train. No cap, no filter, we breaking every chain. In the heart of the city, Saints reign supreme. Live the dream, we living it clean. So stay tuned. Don't miss this ride with the Saints by our side, we take pride.